Thanks to Marvel Rivals giving me early access to Season 2.5, I can show you all of the buffs and nerfs with side-by-side comparisons, showcase Ultron's abilities, and show you all of the new team-up abilities. You're definitely going to want to watch this if you're curious about what the meta will be like when Season 2.5 goes live on May 30. Let's get into it. Starting with Captain America. He's had a few small changes. His base health has now been adjusted to 575, so a small nerf, and the shield recovery time, so the time that it takes for his shield to get health back after it has been fully depleted of all health, has been increased. So it used to take 2 seconds, and now it takes 4 seconds on his Living Legend shield, that is. And the ultimate ability now has more energy costs required before it is available to use. Doctor Strange has had a buff. His damage fall off on his primary attack has changed now. And what that means basically is you're going to do more damage at further distances than you were before. You'll now do 80% damage at 20 meters instead of 62.5% damage. And the Maelstrom of Madness burst ability has had its damage fall off removed entirely. Emma Frost has also received some changes. Her telepathic pulse, her primary attack, has had its range increased. It was 15.5 meters and now it's 18. So you're going to be able to do damage further away with this primary attack. The shield value of her shield ability has been reduced though. It's going to give you less health now. It will now have 400 health instead of 500. The Carbon Crush ability cooldown has gone to 6 seconds instead of 5 seconds, and the Crystal Kick has had a damage nerf. The base hit from the kick now does 40 damage, and when it hits someone on a wall, the extra damage has been reduced to 90. So overall, a 20 damage reduction for this ability. Groot has also received a nerf. This really is a bit of a nerf to the Vanguards this season, although we got some good news for Magneto in a minute. Groot's walls have changed a little bit. The Ironwood wall cooldown has gone to 12 seconds from 8 seconds, and if you need to replace your wall now, when it doesn't take damage, that's also going to affect the cooldown availability. So definitely going to need to be a little bit more careful when and where you place this now. The main attack, Vine Strike, has had its damage decreased as well from 70 to 65. And Magneto did receive a buff. It's not a massive buff. His secondary, which uses the 3 rings, will now take quicker to recharge. It used to take 4 seconds for 1 stack, and now it's 3 seconds. So a small change. And then we got Thor. Thor has changed in an interesting way that I think is going to get a lot of Thor players a little bit frustrated, honestly. Basically, his hammer throw ability is no longer part of his Thor Force set of abilities, and it's a separate standard ability with its own cooldown, and using it will give you Thor Force. The trouble is, it's on a 6-second cooldown, so you're going to be able to use it less often than before, and the hammer throw to melee sort of animation cancel is just not going to be as viable anymore. And the throw damage has been reduced as well. It was 70, and now it's 45. So that's a massive nerf across the board. Sure, you'll be able to go into his awakened state more often, but that's only one part of his kit. The rest of it has now been reduced significantly. And now the overall values for how much health you get, whether it's shield or bonus health from when you consume Thor Force, has been decreased. So overall, you're getting less health across the board, and he's definitely been toned down a bit in terms of his tankiness. Next, we're moving on to the Duelists, where we're seeing some pretty significant buffs, honestly, especially for the more traditional Duelist role that has to, fight players from a distance. We're not talking about the dives here. The non-dive Duelists are getting buffs. So Hawkeye has had his base arrow damage increased from 32 to 44 damage. The projectile damage of Blast Arrow has gone to 16, and the spell field damage has gone up to 34. So overall, more damage for that ability that I feel like not many people use it, but maybe this will give some people some reason to use it a bit more. The maximum focus. Now, I didn't understand this part. I'm going to need some help from you Hawkeye mains. It says increase the maximum focus from 70 to 75. Now, you can see me messing around with both versions of the game here. And from some more testing, it does seem to be a nerf to how much focus he is remaining when he stops targeting an enemy. But the charging speed when aiming at an enemy has increased from 100 a second to 108 a second, and the charge fall-off speed has been increased as well. So overall, some nice fine-tuning and buffs for Hawkeye. And then we have Hela. Not much here, however, the change, despite seeming quite small, is really quite significant. Her Night Sword Thorn, her primary attack, now has 10 ammo per reload instead of 8, which is really quite a big deal when her shots do so much damage per hit. This is definitely going to allow Hela to be pretty meta again, in my opinion. Human Torch, on the other hand, did receive some nerfs to his stats. The Fire Cluster attack now does less damage. It's 6 per Fire Cluster instead of 7, so overall that's quite a significant drop in damage. The charge speed of Blazing Blast has now gone to 3 seconds, so you're going to have to wait longer for it to be available again after being on cooldown. And the shield value from using Flaming Meteor has gone to 50 now. It was 75. The cooldown for that has gone to 20 seconds. So really quite a big nerf for Human Torch across the board. Iron Fist has received some changes. So the amount of bonus health you get from blocking damage from the block ability has been reduced. You're going to get less bonus health for doing that. And the health converted from damage blocked can only max up to 175 now. It was 200. And also, when you use the dash after blocking the sort of main attack, it will give you a little bit of a dash. When you're not locked onto a target, that dash distance has been reduced a little bit. When you punch somebody, when you don't have the fast punch available, it will help reduce the cooldown of your block ability. And now you're going to get less cooldown reduction for each hit of that primary attack. Iron Man has seen some changes as well. Now, whilst he is no longer part of the Gamma Overdrive, he is now a team-up anchor from the Stark Protocol team-up, and we'll get into the team-ups later, but that's quite a good thing for him overall. However, the Repulsor Blast, the secondary attack, has had its damage reduced. The third shot, which is the double shot, now has 45 damage instead of 50, and the spell field damage has been reduced by 5 as well, so 10 damage less overall if you get a direct hit. And the Armor Overdrive maximum bonus health that you get when activating it has gone to 50. You used to get an extra 100. Namor's Blessing of the Deep ability has had its cooldown increased to 20 seconds. It was 15 seconds. However, the ultimate has had a buff. The overall size of it has increased now, and the inner circle radius, which is where it does more damage, has increased a little bit as well. So the inner circle is now 3.5 meters, and the whole radius is 9 meters. Now, the damage on the outer radius part, though, is 180 now. It was 200. But overall, a larger ult, and hopefully you're going to be able to hit more sort of like high damage shots in the inner circle area now. The Monstro spawn damage fall-off has changed as well. At 40 meters distance, you will now do 50% damage. In the past, they were doing 30% damage in total. So basically, less damage fall-off. Psylocke has had a small, actually I'd consider this quite a significant nerf, to be honest. The invisibility duration of her invisibility ability has been reduced. It's now 2 seconds instead of 3 seconds. That's a whole second gone from this ability, and I personally think that's quite a significant deal. That's like 50% reduction, you know, that's quite a lot. And also, when you retrieve the winged shurikens, the damage per hit has gone to 12 from 14. So, small nerf to the damage there. Overall, quite a big nerf for Psylocke. Squirrel Girl has had some changes. Firstly, her ammo count for her primary has gone to 12. It was 10. The cooldown for Mammal Bond has gone to 10 seconds, which is going to allow you to cycle through your ability cooldowns even more often. And this part, I just didn't quite understand once again. Squirrel Girl mains will probably be able to figure it out, but they've optimized the user experience of Squirrel Blockade, Tail Bounce, and Unbeatable Squirrel Tsunami. So basically, her ability should feel more optimized, whatever that means. You know, I'm not a Squirrel Girl player much, and I've tried to test her in the firing range. Can't really see the differences. But I'm sure somebody with a keen eye will be able to figure it out, so let me know in the comments if you have. Star-Lord has had his ultimate cost increased. So we won't get his ultimate as often. However, the ultimate has been buffed. The maximum target range for auto aim has now been boosted to 40 meters. It was 30 meters, so an additional 10 meters is quite a lot. And the damage fall-off has changed. You'll now do 75% damage up to 40 meters. In the past, you would only do 60% damage. Storm's ultimate has had a damage boost. It will now do 160 damage per second. It used to do 150, just in time for Sharknado. We'll get into that in a minute. The Punisher has had quite a significant buff. Firstly, the movement speed in his ultimate has been increased. He's going to move faster now, both when he's just walking and when he's firing. The exact stats are on screen. A main assault rifle also has had quite a big buff. It now has 40 rounds per reload, and the damage per shot has gone from 18 to 19. And the spread has been slightly reduced, although there was hardly any spread anyway. That's quite a big buff for Punisher. And now, unfortunately, we move on to perhaps the biggest slaughter of any character yet, Jeff the Land Shark. He has changed a lot, and a lot of Jeff mains aren't happy. Now, firstly, let's talk about one positive, I suppose. The main primary attack that is for healing can now actually damage enemies, and it can penetrate through enemies and heal players behind it. So no matter who's in the line of this thing, it's going to damage them or heal them, right? And that's great. It's 70 damage a second. However, the healing has been reduced. It's now only 130 per second. It was 150. Next big issue, Aqua Burst has been changed significantly. This was basically a secondary attack that you could also reload to deal damage to enemies. Now it's changed. You only get 3 uses, and it takes 3 seconds for each use to recharge. So kind of similar to Human Torch's secondary ability, and that's going to give you a lot less offensive power. Yes, you do get damage out of the primary now, so maybe that will make him a little bit better, but I think this is overall a bad change. Now, the spell field damage from Aqua Burst has been increased to 45, though, so that's okay. And when you get a direct hit, they'll get launched into the air. The healing bubble has changed as well. It was a one-time healing effect before, and now it will give you healing over time. So not instant health to keep you alive when you're flanking and all that stuff. The health per bubble has gone to 120, but that will take 4 seconds to get that health. In the past, you could get 85 health instantly. And the max charges has gone down to 3. It was 6. There's also a new effect added to Hide and Seek. It now has an energy cap, and that drains by 20 seconds whilst you're under the ground. And when you're out of the ground, you have to wait for it to recharge again. And if he wasn't completely butchered enough, it seems like he can't jump out of his swimming animation anymore. He just sort of leaves the animation. Like the whole counterplay of him jumping around just seems completely removed from the game. And then we have a Lunar Snow change. Lunar Snow's main attack now does 22 damage, whether that's for healing or attacking enemies. And her absolute zero, the Ice Blast attack, which freezes people, will now give her 50 bonus health per enemy hit. And her ultimate now costs even more energy. It's 5,000, it was 4,500. And then Raccoon has had a change. Well, he is no longer part of the Ammo Overload team-up. That's gone forever. Well, it's gone for now. But he does have a new team-up anchor bonus, as you can see. And his repair mode, direct hit healing, has gone to 50. It was 55. Now that we've looked at the buffs and nerfs, let's look at the new team-ups, because there are a lot. Firstly, a few have gone offline this season. The Symbiote team-up has gone offline, the Hawkeye Black Widow, the Jeff Luna, and the Rocket Raccoon Punisher team-up. But there are so many new team-ups to take a look at. Let's first start with Sharknado. I mean, we have to give this one a go. You got to make sure your ultimate is available first. And then once it is, you can combine your ult with hers. You turn into a giant shark and deal damage. It just seems like a bit of a meme. I'm not sure how strong it's going to be. And then we have this team up. The Punisher upgrades Black Widow's arsenal, adding a pulse mode to her Red Room rifle. While the ability is active, using Straight Shooter fires a pulse beam that deals piercing damage. So Straight Shooter is the ADS mode, and it's only active for a short time, which is interesting. So if I shoot now, no collat damage, right? But then I activate it as a separate ability, and bam. And it does full damage. Wow, that's pretty good, actually. I think that could be good in some bottlenecks, but I still am suspicious about whether or not she's going to be meta. And then we have Chilling Assault. With the blessing of Lunar Snow, Hawkeye is imbued with the ice energy, allowing him to fire ice arrows that pierce through enemies. If an ice arrow travels beyond a certain distance, it stuns any enemy it hits. If it strikes before reaching that distance, it instead slows the target. The further the ice arrow flies, the greater its damage. Ah, so we can shoot through this. Look at that. can shoot through terrain with this. Quite a cool ability, actually. That's quite good. Then we have the Jeff Venom team up. Venom shares a part of his symbiote with Jeff the Landshark. When using the team up ability in either his normal state or during hide and seek, Jeff extends symbiote tendrils to nearby allies, linking with them. Linked teammates receive continuous healing. When the ability reaches its maximum duration, all linked allies gain a large burst of healing, with excess healing being converted into bonus health. Are you seeing a trend here? They realized they butchered Jeff, so they put him in a bunch of team ups to try and make up for it. It feels like that's what's going on. Right, let's see it in action. Here's the symbiotes. I'm healing Venom, and if I go under, do it again. And then we have the Rocket Raccoon and Penny Parker team up. Rocket Raccoon upgrades his BRB by integrating the Bionic Spider Nest effect. Now, the beacon creates cyberwebs when placed and periodically spawns arachnomines and spider drones. Penny Parker can additionally deploy an armored spider nest that periodically drops armor packs that grant bonus health. So, from Rocket's POV, if we activate it, as you can see, it does have spider bots and mines, and it even connects with the original trap. Now, this will completely replace Rocket's BRB with a new version. With Penny Parker, it's a bit of a different story. You have one nest, and then an additional BRB nest. Well, not a BRB nest. It drops armor packs. So you can have two nests down, essentially. This one's obviously smaller, but that is a pretty significant team up for Penny. I mean, it's a cool ability, but I don't think it's going to provide much viability, really. And then we have the Ultron Iron Man team up. Iron Man uses nanotechnology to upgrade Ultron's arsenal, enhancing its Encephalo Ray to Nano Ray. During its active phase, Ultron fires an unstoppable nanoray straight ahead that pierces through all characters, delivering massive damage to enemy while simultaneously restoring health to allies. Okay. So, this is Ultron's normal attacks. Right? It doesn't heal allies, which is important to note. And it's got a reload. Now, if we activate the Iron Man, it will heal and damage. It's basically an Iron Man beam that heals and damages, which is pretty cool. I actually think this is one of the best team-ups so far. Okay, now let's take a look at Ultron's abilities. So he is a flying strategist, and as you can see, his movement is quite similar to Johnny, right? Human Torch. Now, if you activate the shift, you get a boost forwards and then enhanced movement through the air. So he's got that as a sort of movement ability there. Now, of course, he's a strategist, but his primary does not perform healing. To provide healing, what you need to do is send out the drone, which is on your E. And when you send out a drone to an ally, it will create a radius, and anyone in that radius will be healed. So I can send it here, whoever I want to, and anyone in that radius will be healed. Now, to further augment this, we have this shield ability. And when I activate the shield ability, people will get bonus shields in the radius of the character that has the bot over him and the radius of myself. As you can see here. Bonus health. And it activates an AoE around me and the drone that we've placed, wherever that may be, right? And then we have the main attack, which is a laser beam. It sort of charges up and then does a burst afterwards, and it's a 6-shot. So it's like this. And I don't think this pierces enemies. Let me just double check. It might pierce enemies, but not allies. Let's see. It doesn't seem to. Let me just double check this. Again. Yeah, it doesn't. So it's a very unique ability in that it does a lot of damage, but it's not like a constant beam. Let's see what the max range is on this. Keep on going. Let's see. We are currently 31 meters. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, so that's further than Iron Man's attacks. Okay. Does it just keep going forever? Oh, it does? Oh, that's interesting. It was basically a sniper, dude. That is unexpected. So basically max distance is ridiculously far. And then we have the ultimate. Summon Ultron drones to fire encephalo rays, damaging enemies or healing allies. Right, this is going to heal. It just auto fires wherever you're aiming at. Now, what you may be noticing so far is Ultron has limited healing. Like, he's not really a very good healer. He's kind of going to fall into the same, like, sort of play style as perhaps Adam Warlock. But Adam, I think with some buffs recently, he's a bit more viable. Like, I'm not sure how Ultron's... He's more, to me, he's more of a duelist than a strategist. So I don't know how he's going to fit into the meta. I think he's a really cool character and he's fun. But, I don't know, first impressions, I'm quite surprised at the limited amount of healing potential as a strategist. What do you think? Let me know. And thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the comments. Cheerio.